Many of you would have heard about this entity called euthyroid 6 syndrome. I have chosen this topic because this is not only a difficult topic for medical students to understand, but also a difficult one for physicians as it poses a diagnostic challenge. This syndrome refers to euthyroid individual developing biochemical thyroid abnormalities during a acute sickness. The new terminology used for this syndrome is called non-thyroid illness syndrome or NTIS. Before I begin, let me tell you in brief about thyroid physiology, which is very essential to understand this topic. Hypothalamus releases TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone, which acts on the anterior pituitary. This in turn releases TSH, which stimulates the thyroid gland to produce more thyroid hormones. These hormones are released into circulation, and these are T4, which stands for thyroxine, T3, which stands for triiodothyronine, and RT3 or reverse T3. About 90% of hormone released from the thyroid gland is T4, and 10% is T3, and less than 1% is reverse T3. These hormones are transported to peripheral cells. I have drawn a peripheral cell here. This is cell membrane, this is nucleus, and this is endoplasmic reticulum. These thyroid hormones are transported in bound form, which means they are bound to certain proteins in the circulation. The proteins are TBG, thyroid binding globulin, TBPA, thyroid binding prealbumin, or also called as transthyretin, and albumin. TBG has high affinity but low capacity, whereas albumin has high capacity but low affinity. Remember, 99.5% of T4 is bound to proteins in the circulation. Near the peripheral tissue, T4 has to get converted to T3 by type 1 deiodinase, which is present on the cell membrane. Remember, T3 is the most active form of thyroid hormone. That is why this conversion happens. This T3, being lipophilic, enters the cell, then enters the nucleus and acts on the DNA to produce mRNA. Sometimes T4 is converted to T3 by type 2 deiodinase, which is present in the endoplasmic reticulum. End result is the same, that is T3 goes to nucleus and stimulates mRNA synthesis. Now if there is excess T4, this will be converted to reverse T3 by type 3 deiodinase. Reverse T3 is an inactive hormone. Coming back to circulation, I told you that the majority of the thyroid hormone produced by the thyroid gland is T4. So in the circulation, the ratio of T4 to T3 is 10 is to 1. You must be wondering why thyroid gland has to produce more T4, which then has to get converted to T3, the active form. Why can't the thyroid gland produce T3 itself rather than T4? The answer is T4 has longer half-life, that is 7 days, compared to T3, which has a half-life of 1 day. Second reason is the daily turnover of T4 is only 10%, whereas T3 is 70%. This means T4 provides a stable pool of thyroid hormone in the circulation. So whenever the thyroid hormones are required, T4 can be converted to T3 and utilized for the action. This is the same reason why when we treat a patient of hypothyroidism, we give T4, which has a longer half-life. But when the hypothyroidism is very severe, like for example myxedema coma, which is the most severe form of hypothyroidism, we give T3, the active form, rather than T4 because we want thyroid hormones to act quickly in case of severe hypothyroidism. Now, having understood this concept, let us move on to euthyroid 6 syndrome. Whenever there is an acute illness, there is increased production of inflammatory mediators like interleukin 6, interleukin 1, and TNF alpha. These mediators impair the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3, which is normally done by type 1 deiodinase. So now tell me what happens to T3 or FT3. Yes, it will be reduced. This reduction of T3 in acute illness is probably an adaptive response to reduce the catabolic state. However, this is a hypothetical statement which can be made. T4 on the other side will remain normal. So TSH also will remain normal because TSH is regulated by T4 levels. Because T4 cannot get converted to T3, it will be converted to reverse T3 by type 3 deiodinase. So what will happen to reverse T3? It will be increased. All these abnormalities are together referred to as low T3 syndrome. But when the patient is very sick or moribund, there is altered T4 binding to TBG, probably by an unknown inhibitor in the circulation. This will lead to low T4 or free T4. So whenever there is low T4, there is loss of negative feedback on the pituitary, so it will result in increased TSH production. On the other side, T3 levels also will decrease because when T4 is less, obviously T3 also will be less. All these together is referred to as low T4 syndrome. Sometimes when there is acute liver failure, as commonly occurs in sepsis or shock, we call it as shock liver. Because of hypoperfusion, there is ischemia of the liver leading to acute liver cell failure. In this condition, there is increased release of TBG. So the measured T4 levels will be high because the T4 is bound to TBG. Also certain drugs which we commonly use in emergencies, for example amiodarone, iodinated contrast, these are going to decrease the hepatic uptake of T4, so there is increased T4 levels in the circulation. Also heparin, which is again a common drug which is used in the ICU, displaces T4 from binding proteins leading to increased FT4 levels. Together these abnormalities are known as high T4 syndrome. Lastly, increased cortisol either due to endogenous production or exogenous administration of steroids or use of dopamine, which is a inotrope commonly used in sepsis or septic shock, these are going to suppress the TSH production. This will result in decreased TSH levels. Now coming back to primary abnormalities, low T3 and low T4 syndrome. Low T3 syndrome is the most common variety occurring in about 70% of hospitalized patients. On the other side, low T4 syndrome, although not very common, but carries a very poor prognosis. This low T3 and of course low T4 resolve spontaneously, but one caution is during recovery, TSH starts rising for a transient period of time, which again normalizes later. The next dilemma is, should we treat this low T3 or low T4? The dilemma remains forever. Studies have shown some benefit in supplementing thyroid hormones in low doses until the illness resolves. This is about euthyroid 6 syndrome. In the next video, I will tell you how to differentiate euthyroid 6 syndrome from genuine thyroid illness. Thank you.